Hello and welcome to Storytime. I'm Kathy Ramsperger. I'm author of The Shores of Our Souls and the upcoming 1,000 Flying Things. I'm also a coach who founded Ground One and Step Into Your Story. First, I want to wish everybody a happy Valentine. I said that before and I'm going to say it again. It's like Valentine's Day, but we are honoring veterans today. Thank you for all of your service. And especially if you are a member of a family who's lost somebody who has been a service member. And today is also 11/11/21, which is an especially great day to create your intentions. So intend away. We may get to that later. There's a third reason today's special, and it's because we have an exceptionally gifted healer, Renee Herro, with us today. We're going to start off with a couple questions. It's going to be a little different than usual because we can start talking and sort of go this way and that. And it's going to be an amazing conversation. So fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be loads of fun. As always, Kaylee Mullis is here fielding your questions. So feel free to put them in the comments and we'll take a couple breaks for those. Before I introduce Renee, I want to just read a little bit about her in her own words from her website. I started exploring, reading, and studying the afterlife early, asking myself, could it be I have a gift? Doesn't everyone see this way? Renee and I have had conversations about this, and I remember saying to her, when I close my eyes, I see things. And I thought everybody did. The Blessed Mother, this is Renee continuing, the Blessed Mother is my best friend. I talk to her like she's in the room, since for me she is. I pray the rosary. My favorite prayers get answers almost immediately. If there isn't an answer right away, I know it will come in time. My career changed paths several times, always with God sending me where he wanted me to be. I didn't have much thought to knowing things before they happened again. Before they happened. Again, this was normal for me. So now it's your turn, Renee Herro. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me, Kathy.
So can you continue this a little bit? Can you tell us a little bit about how you found out you were intuitive and discovered you could heal yourself and others?
You know, I always was. And so I thought everybody was, like I did say on my website. And, you know, I see little light balls like flicker around and I have a knowing of who they are. And I would get flashes of things that would happen. And I could always hear the phone ring before it did. And I'd answer it. There was no one there. And I hang up, I walk away and it would ring then. It would ring later. So I kind of, had a joke in the family, answer the phone and then it would ring and everybody would be spooked. So it's fun. But I actually didn't really dig deeper until I lost my little brother. Like there's got to be more. I knew a lot at that time, but I needed to know more. And that's when I really started studying with and digging deep into the mediumship. So the gift was natural, but then after I started studying with teachers from all over the world is when I really got clear enough to start doing readings and healings for other people. I started healing myself.
So how your brother passed unexpectedly. I know that.
Yes, it was unexpectedly.
And you opened up more after that, right?
Well, I did, but I was searching because I felt him the moment he passed. He whacked me up beside the head and woke me up.
Oh, wow.
And I had this really deep peace. And I just didn't know I didn't know until a few hours later.
You had no idea.
No, exactly. And then I connected it. But I found it really fascinating because he was at peace. He struggled with a lot of pain and was on a lot of pain meds and was struggling with addiction. And so we prayed for his healing. And I had a visit from the Blessed Mother about 6 months before telling me he's not going to be in pain much longer. So I was assuming that was going to be a healing rather than he was going to pass.
Right.
So when he passed, I'm like, I need to know where he is. I need to know more about what's over there. And that's what started my search. Do you see what I mean? And the grief was really hard because it was sudden and we were extremely close. So I used the grief to push me through the search. And I was very blessed with so many amazing teachers, mediums, psychics. I have to tell you, I took 5 tarot card classes and I cannot read tarot cards for anything. I just can't. It just doesn't work for me. And I'm like, okay, let it go. And I'm taking,
you just
is that you get it? Okay. So what I found, what works for me is energy. I can take a negative energy that is like an emotion and I can see it. I know where it is in the body. I can take it out and I can transform it and put light back in. And I'm just the vessel. When I say that, I mean, spirit does it, God, Blessed Mother, whoever your team is, but that's where I go with it. Mm-hmm. And I can see it and I can move it through. So the Reiki, when I took the Reiki certification classes all the way through, I'm not a master. I did not want to teach it, so I stopped there. But that really helped me decipher and see the energies differently. So that helped a lot. And then I met Greta, who I trained with for like 10 years. And she pretty much taught me, everything I know energetically.
For so long. So
yeah.
Do you think what you use right now is still a form of Reiki, or I think you have your own?
I do over the years and studying different techniques. And sometimes I only did 3 sessions with a teacher. They taught me their technique, but pretty much God has given me mine. And I can't even explain it. It's a little bit of Reiki, a little bit of energy. It's a little bit of mediumship, psychic, prophecies, whatever comes. And what's interesting is when I connect with a client or a group, it's so interesting to me how I was taught to forget everything I know, connect to the client, and the call will guide itself. So I find it so interesting how it flows. So maybe 5 or 6 modalities are being used on a call or for a healing, or just one, or exactly, or spirits come in, or loved ones passed over come in for a message, and I find it so fascinating. That's why I feel like this is I feel really blessed to be able to do this kind of work, because that's what we really need right now. We're healing our past. It's changing our programs in our brain and how we act and react. And I think it's really important work right now. I think it always has been, but right now specifically.
Well, and we're, as a world population, are more aware we need it now.
Exactly.
Or we were just, I don't know, our attention was diverted.
Exactly. And I think the biggest thing I've learned is that physical pain always stems from emotion. And emotion's easy to clear with energy. When you use light, push it out, heal it, understand why you had it. And then you can literally heal the physical body by moving the emotion off.
So I know you worked in the beauty industry, and that's all I know. There were probably other jobs too, but
the beauty industry. Okay.
I just had my hair cut, and
it's pretty.
Thank you, Maggie. Shout out to Maggie. I feel like my hair practitioner, who's also become a birth doula, and she's getting her nursing degree. She's like a close cousin to me. Like, I tell her things because we're just sitting there. And so I'm wondering if that might have been a way for you to sort of refine your skills. I don't mean you were doing readings for these people, but there
pretty
must
much
be such energy. You're so close. You're touching. I don't know. Were you doing
right? Holding hands. I did I did nails and feet. Yeah, I did a lot of healing work in the salon, and I was fortunate to have rent space. I worked 30 years. I did 3 salons in 30 years, and I was fortunate to have my bosses allow me to have this corner beautiful space where my clients could have some private time with me. And I did a lot of Reiki manicures and pedicures where they were very aware of the energy work that I was doing. So I incorporated that about 10 years after I started, 10 years in. So for about 20 years, I did healing manicures and pedicures, not on everybody, because I did charge for it too. And I allowed more time.
Mhm.
So it was fascinating. And we had this little joke. I did a lot of the acrylic nails, and my clients didn't really break nails. And whenever they broke a nail, they knew that they had to see me, because it wasn't really about their nail being broken, but it was because they needed a clearing.
I would have been in
We
there
had a
a
joke in
lot.
the salon.
I would have been, Renee, it happened again. But
Exactly.
it's just my nails. So last week when we just met to talk about this, we were talking a little bit about how trauma opens us up. And when you get to a certain age, you have experienced trauma, you've experienced death and grief, some much younger than others. And can you talk a little bit about, can you talk
Absolutely.
about Marianne?
Absolutely. So you want to talk about trauma?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe that trauma for one person is different for another. Trauma can be very different. If there is a history of an experience that gives someone a trauma feeling, it will affect them more than it will affect like me or you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, when somebody passes that we love, it could be traumatizing to half the family members, but not so much the other half of the family members because of their past. And I'm talking lifetime past. So you see what I'm saying? So I find trauma is very difficult to heal, because what I learned over the years of studying about it is that trauma has to be healed separately from the experience. You cannot heal anything that happened that's a trauma until you heal the trauma itself.
Oh,
So
wow.
you have to heal the trauma first, then you can get to the issue of what needs to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that trauma shakes you up. I think it is important it's like something's dormant and it shakes you up and wakes you up to something that needs to be healed. So I have a compassion for it. I understand it, but I also know that it's important for that person. When someone has a trauma, I know they're going great places. Do you see what and they're not stuck in a victim role? Because a lot of times trauma can make someone be a victim and then they feel entitled and the world owes them. And that never turns out well for anyone. So when trauma really affects somebody deeply in their soul, that's when I know that they're light workers themselves, probably. In some way, they're a light worker. And they'll take that information as they heal and share it ongoing. I have light workers, a lot of clients, and some are CEOs and businesses, and some are, you're an author. Do you see what I'm saying? I have clients that are VPs of marketing, that
Right.
they do their light worker job in their job. So it's not specific to just our healing.
Right. It's a way of being. And I do a lot of work in my sleep. That's when I'm busy.
Exactly.
So
Can I add to that?
yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. I'm going to think of my next question while you do that.
Okay, thank you. Because when you said I heal in my sleep, you're right. Most of us do. But I do feel like the really deep stuff gets healed in your sleep time, so you're not aware of it. And it's when you can actually get more work done in the dream time. But what happens is you wake up and you feel like you got run over by a truck, and it takes a couple hours to get going and get moving. But I find that awareness, I think, is really good for everyone to know, because that's why you wake up in the middle. Just know that you're healing, and that's a great thing. So I wanted to add that.
Okay. So Do you think that if I call it like God tapping me on the shoulder trauma, do you think if we're not paying attention, it just keeps coming? Is there a reason for it? Or I know that my life became, it's not like I haven't had more death. I certainly have in my life, but I've had two major traumas, I think, maybe three.
Okay.
And once I sort of started dealing with my stuff, I don't mean just trying to heal myself,
I understand.
but reaching out to other people with it, which
Mhm.
I was running away from for most of my life.
Uh-huh.
The traumas seem to be, I wouldn't even call it trauma anymore,
Okay.
The biggest traumas that I was experiencing were death of really close loved ones. The last one,
Right.
Renee, but the
Yes.
audience might not, was on my 60th birthday. And so that was big.
Mhm.
But I think I've healed amazingly since then. And I kind of think she's the
Yep.
other side pushing me on that way. Um,
Mhm.
So do you think it's a little knock on the door, each trauma, or am
I
I
do.
okay?
I do. And I've been noticing the last few years about this random healing, that all of a sudden there's this random opportunity to do something that you wouldn't normally do in a healing. And I'm learning forward. Really felt like it was random. And that's what I kept seeing. It was an opportunity. And then, so we're going to do it. Well, then the more I dig deep into it, what I'm realizing is that it's not so random. It's set in stone that you're going to do that issue, but it feels like at a random point of time. So it's that part of the shakeup.
Right.
You can't you can't heal a dark shadow, the shadow work, because it's dormant, it's deep. If it doesn't get triggered, then you can't just go, oh, I'm going to do shadow work, and then you're going to go look and see what it is, right?
And people
It's
don't want
got
to
this
do that
perfect
anyway.
process. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And
Thank
so
you.
it's the trauma forces you. So is it written? It's probably in your contract. Timings wise, I think when you're ready. Sometimes when that happens, we don't feel like we're ready, but we always get through it, because God only knows that. I mean, God knows what we're ready for. We don't necessarily do sometimes.
Mhm.
Do you see what I'm saying? And then a lot of it is unconscious stuff too, which when you're not aware of it, how you're going to fix it or change it or just course correct. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
How can you do that if you're not aware of it? So the trauma brings all the awareness. Make sense?
It does. It makes sense to me. So you mentioned soul contracts. Can you go into that a little bit? Because
Sure. I believe we all have our own contract. I mean, we all have and this period of time that we're in right now is actually really, really, to me, showing me how we all live our own reality. And I find that so interesting, because I knew it and I could see it in some form, but this is, how do you choose to live your life? How do you want to live your life? Do you see? So we're choosing to heal so we can have a better life and have not so much pain and feel happier and more love and be love, right? So I do believe that there is a handful, everybody has a handful of life lessons that they're going to learn, but one lesson could be in work and play and partnership. It could be in so many facets that it feels like it's the only lesson you have. And then you add the other 4 lessons, and you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to heal because I have all this stuff. But it really is only very simply one lesson with multi-facets. Make sense?
Oh, I love that. It does to
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see if we've got comments and questions. And I want to introduce the clownfish. What's your clownfish's name? He's in the spotlight now. What's your fish?
My fish, Gianni. Can you see him? Oh, yeah, there he is. He's shy. Gianni, and then the little white one is Barnabas.
Aw.
Barney, he's really little. It's hard to see.
No, I can see him. I can definitely
Can you see Barney? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does everything Gianni does.
Renee's Gianni is 10 years old, and we were talking about him beforehand. So Kaylee, do we have questions or comments?
Hello, everybody, first of all. Second of all, we don't have any questions or comments at the moment. There was a comment about an audio problem. People were kind of having a difficult time either accessing the page, or there was an audio problem, but we figured it out. So
Okay,
I'm sure
yay.
yeah, I figured it out. So if I look distracted at any point in time, that's why. But so I'm sure by the second round of questions, we'll have some more. We're all
Okay.
set. We're set and ready to go.
Yeah, I do want to comment on that, just by saying that there have been some glitches lately, both on my show and on others that I've been on. And while I apologize for the inconvenience, I'm sure that it's all going to get worked out. And if it isn't, we'll figure it out somehow. So thank you, Kaylee, for whatever buttons you pushed.
Everybody's connection lately, I feel like, has not been great. Even in the middle of this talk, my internet said it was unstable, and I'm sure it's just something's going on.
Can I go there? Do you want me to go there?
Yes, Renee.
Okay, let me go there.
Because
Okay.
it happened. It's supposed to be addressed.
Because exactly. And okay, so we're in this very ambiguous time right now. So there's this thing we call, it's a tier of emotion, TIERS. So the bottom is the painful part, the middle is the ambiguous and the, anger, and then the up is the high, the low, love and joy and all the good stuff, right? So we're in this middle ground of ambiguity, and it's a state of mind. So, but we have this opportunity to say, hey, okay, so a glitch happens. Do I want it to bring me down, or do I want it to take me up?
Mhm.
So the way you just said that, we figured it out. Yay. Okay. Do you see? And so you let that take you up instead of opportunity to take you down. Do you see what I'm saying? But ambiguity is the perfect place, the perfect word to explain where we are now. But that's an opportunity to go up. So if we give it attention, then decide, I want to go this way, not this way. And then you can start shifting your thinking, the way you see things, and then you emotionally start becoming more happy and more happy and more happy and peaceful, and you find you're not reacting, which is caused by the planetary stuff. So last month we had 4 planets go direct, and I am not an astrologer, so please, nobody take I read energies. Okay, so let me just voice that. The 4 direct, which caused shadow periods, which is what it's the only way I can explain it is this, it's chaos. Okay. And so when you have that chaotic energy, that's where you stand in the middle of it, in the core, in the eye of the storm, and you say, I choose to go up. I choose. Okay. So use those little things, and especially with electrical communication, when you're in a shadow period. Now we're out of that, but we still have some planetary stuff happening. It's all moving and changing. So when there's moving and changing, that is chaos and ambiguity. But we need that for change and for evolution. And so that's what I wanted to give that. I wanted to give it a thank you. And some understanding, so that we can understand that it's not us. It's not our life. It's not a reflection of what's happening. It's not us creating it. It's what we need for change and evolution.
Oh, that's
Makes sense?
beautiful. Yes, that's beautiful. So the next time I feel uncertain about something, I'm going to think I'm going up. And
Exactly. And choose it. Make a choice. The greatest gift we have is choice.
I totally agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the biggest tenet to my Step Into Your Story program, because the way I see it, we're a story in a body. So
yes,
multiple stories in a body.
Yes.
And if we're sitting or stagnant, even if we're in pain, it's still a choice, right? But
Yeah.
the momentum actually, figuratively and literally, causes transformation.
Yes.
We just
And
got
can I add to something? I'm getting called to add. I'm getting called. I don't know who's listening, but I think somebody needs to hear this. So I'm just going to go with my gut if you don't mind.
Hold on.
Do you mind, Kathy?
We don't mind at all. Kaylee, is it all good?
Yeah, there was just a comment that I felt went well
Go
with
ahead.
that stream of thought. Noelle Puglisi says the obstacle is the course.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. Exactly. Exactly. And use it to your, it can be frustrating. Yes. But you can give it attention and say, and choose to go up instead of let it frustrate you and keep you in frustration.
So Renee, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No, that's okay. I'm getting really called to say this. So, I kind of jumped through that. I told you in the very beginning when you asked me about my gifts, and when I've always was. I went to a private Catholic school. I loved going to church. I mean, for me, the nuns would smack me because I was always daydreaming. And I had those experiences too, but I loved going to church. And I never understood why I wasn't allowed on the boys' side of the playground and the girls had to be, there was a line, and I didn't understand any of, to me, my soul was always so open and loving. So I didn't understand why, and a lot.
inclusive.
And then when we were in high school, my brothers and sisters and I were very close in age. So my dad and my mom came to us and they said, we raised you. You have your faith. You do what you want. We're not making you go to church anymore. Well, we would pile in the car every Saturday night. All my friends, we would all go to church, and it's just filled my heart. And then getting communion I can't even say that. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, I needed to share that with you because it doesn't matter what your faith is. It still gives your heart the love that it deserves to have, and because we are love. And so if it feeds you, that's where you belong. If you question it, it's okay to question it. And every faith, if you look at them very closely, they kind of have all one path, one God, no matter what he looks like to you. Do you see what I mean? And it's all for the heart and treat people the way, humans know how to love better than any other planet at all, ever. Is we love bigger and better than any other planet. And so
makes me happy.
Mm-hmm. What'd you say?
That makes me happy.
Yeah. So we had to use that. And so that I needed to share that because somebody needed to hear that. And she may not even hear it till it plays on tape. But I feel like it's a woman and somebody needed to hear that.
I was exactly like you, loved church, never questioned my faith.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 40, I got melanoma, and obviously I am fine. And it made me really question. And I was so blessed because I went to my pastor, who was only there for like 3 months, and said, I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm going to die. I didn't mean I was going to die in the moment, but I just realized that.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And what if I'm not right? And he was like, fantastic.
And you're like, what?
Yeah, he was like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're right on time. Question away. You're supposed to form your own foundation of faith. So I did.
It is. It's personal. It's so personal.
Yeah.
And you can connect to Jesus one day and Mary the next and God the next. You know what I mean? Or one of the angels. I mean, there's so much support out there. We just have to be open to it. That's the big thing. Be open to it. If you don't believe in miracles, you're not ever going to see one. But if you ask, and that's the key, ask, surrender it, and then open to receive it. It's very simple. And if you don't get it, it's not yours, or it's not now. or there's something better. It never is not, you're not being heard, I believe.
I totally agree with you.
Mhm.
So I'm processing this a little bit.
Okay.
I am wondering what your first piece of advice would be to somebody who might be in physical pain right now. And
Physical pain. Okay.
And we know, because you just pointed out that it stems from our emotions. And so I would assume the advice would be toward the emotional, or so I definitely started out the physical way, but it was
Right.
very, acupuncture and chiropractic and things that most people thought
Right.
were avant-garde when I was doing it.
Right. Exactly.
But the pain always came back. And so if you could have just addressed that.
Okay. So pain is by the time you have pain, you've had the emotion for so long, it had nowhere else to go.
Mhm.
And it can come up in a situation where you feel like, I don't know how to handle it. So you just you think you're handling it, but really you're shoving it down. So by the time it gets to pain, physical pain, then you have to you just talk to your body, and I love that the chakras give us guidance. So what I mean by that, there are it's like the same as meridians, but the chakras are the 7 points. There's actually 12. And at the base of your spine, most people have spine pain. Their back hurts. Have you noticed how many people have back pain?
Yeah.
So at the base of their spine, that's a security. That's a security that you don't feel safe. So you can pray, you can ask for this to heal. You can ask your body what else it needs. Put your hand on your heart and say, what do you need right now? Do you see what I mean? And it's not always a pain medicine. It's sometimes ask your body, talk to your body, start connecting with your body. If it's in the middle, it's your solar plexus. That's where the emotions, there's so much emotion, you can't handle it. And if it's chest, it's pretty much your heart or your voice.
Mhm.
And then if it's your head, it's stuff that's been there for lifetimes. Usually your head is like lifetimes. That's how I see it. Not everyone believes that, but that's in my experience.
And do you have to release those lifetimes in order for the pain to go away?
But when you connect with the body and say, I'm safe, or whatever area you're working with, I am love. If it's your chest, I am love. Sometimes and I believe that the body is helping you. It's warning you. It's like something needs to change. Right. So that's a good thing. And I find that most people are very sensitive and empathic. So you will know that you need to go to the doctor. If it's like gone so past the physical, you will know. And also the other thing is pain comes from fear, not love. So you can say, I come from love. I choose to come from fear. I let the fear go. And a lot of empaths can pick up other people's stuff. If you know as well as I do, if one of your kids has a headache, you probably do too. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially it's hard with people we love so much, even our friends. But when it gets family, it's a little harder. So I think it's more about just being one with your body. Your body is the cover for your soul. So it's just as important as your soul. So how are you going to treat it? And then you can also, I love acupuncture. I love, all of those, chiropractic. I love all of those, but I also believe in the medical field. Right. Go to the doctor. Do you know what I mean? Right. And it depends on how long it's been there. If you have a headache, is your crown chakra closed off because it doesn't want any more information? Make sense? And we know we use the teapot all the time over the head. You know what I'm talking about. You want me to explain that? Or are you
Sure,
good?
yeah, please do. Please do,
Okay.
because it was a new concept for me. I
Mhm.
used to release energy through my feet to the ground, and it just wasn't working for me at all. And and I would keep saying, I'm not grounded, I'm not grounded. Since I've been doing this, like I imagine it to be a teapot, and
Yeah.
especially if it's anger. I don't mean I'm an angry person.
Right. But in a moment.
In a moment, I can be angry. And if I release the anger, it grounds me.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's just so much emotion that you don't want to be here. So it kind of lifts you up. Exactly. But that's where we belong right now. So the crown chakra is like that soft spot on a little baby. That's where it is. So you just imagine your head's a teapot and you lift it up and you just let all the gunk go. You can visualize it. And then when the headache's gone, you just close it. Now mine was so clogged this morning because I've been doing and working on ambiguity and chaos and releasing pain and grief. Because that's where we all are right now. So I'm working with a shaman. I'm training to be a shaman right now.
Wow.
So she took my crown chakra out and washed it out and then put it back in because the teapot didn't work. It was too clogged. So she had to take it out. That's what happens when you do a lot of dream time work.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can get clogged or there's a lot. Your throat can be sore if you want to say something and you can't or no one's hearing you. There's a reason for that. You're not always sick, but if you have it too long, then you need a doctor. So I want to make sure that I'm clear with that I love all the modalities. Yeah, go ahead.
And I just want to reiterate for purposes of all this social network that we all should be going to a Western allopathic medical
Yep.
doctor
Yep.
at least once a year and more often if we have a
Yep.
problem. So
they're light workers in their own right. They just work with the physical body. I think we all work together.
I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
This is just nice in conjunction. And
exactly.
And I wasn't getting relief from I was getting plenty of relief from Western medicine, but the pain was the issue.
Right.
The physical pain. So so that's when I looked for other ways. And I was feeling emotional grief too. I was.
Exactly. And then we get afraid when you're grieving and you get afraid of the loss of love, like you're going to lose. And then you start acting differently because you're in fear all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's so difficult to navigate those. Mm-hmm. But I have learned never to judge myself for feeling something good, bad, or different that I don't want to feel. You know what I mean? If I get angry from loss when I'm grieving, anger is my first thing, gives me power. I'm not an angry person, but I used to be. I had to heal why I was angry. Right?
Than that, but okay.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I have bursts. I do have bursts, and I think it's my go-to emotion. I really do.
Because it's empowering,
hurting.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be in despair and in bed and can't get out. So you're going to get angry first because then you can get a lot done.
Oh boy, there's a story connected to that, but I don't think people are ready for it. But so true, Renee. So true about you. I'm wondering if it's time for more questions because it's already been 40 minutes.
I know, this was fast.
Yeah, it always does. It flies by. Kaylee, do we have anything?
Yeah, we have a question from Noelle Puglisi, and she's asking, and this was about 8 minutes ago. So are you saying that every decision we make is bound by our energy in relation to choice?
That's a good question. Yes, in the moment, yes. Unless you override it and say, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to, you know what I mean? There's two ways to do it. You can do it that reacting way, or you can take a deep breath and say, I'm going to do the right way for me. Because your right way may not be my right way. It doesn't matter what's right for you. And right action will always give you peace. You can scream and yell and react, and then you feel crappy later. That's not your right action. Does that answer her question?
I think so. Well,
Okay.
Well, if you want more, or for her to elaborate more, please reply. But for
Okay.
now, I think that's good.
Thank you, Noelle. And Renee is always
Thank you, Noelle.
telling me, you're supposed to be doing what I'm always saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
I know. Oh, we are. Are we all right now?
To me, do what you want.
Exactly. That's your guidance.
That is my guidance. You've told me a million times. And for some reason, there's something in my soul that says, you can't do what I want. So I think that I'm healing toward it. Let's put it like that. It's probably
Right.
it's still a
Yes.
little stuck in me.
Well, it's a process.
But I also don't think I used to see it as a proactive choice. And now I do.
Right.
I know I could walk away from everything. Not that I'm going to, audience, but I could.
Make that clear.
And the world would keep turning and my life would go on just fine. So yeah, it really helped to empower me.
And I do ask my body too. I put my hand on my heart all the time and say, is this good for me? And I just kind of let it, because if you don't feel anything, then it doesn't really matter. But sometimes a desire, that's a really tough one, because the guidance used to hit us really hard and blatant and really loud, right? Now it's so subtle that it's like, should I not? What do I do? But I really feel like if you put the intention out there of right action, you can't do it wrong. Mm-hmm. And if it is wrong or you don't get the outcome you want, then it's okay. Now you know it doesn't work. Try it a different way. Mm-hmm. That's the beauty of what we're in right now. We get to try it 30 ways. And there's really not a whole lot of consequences when we have a good intention. Does that make sense? Always the intention behind it has to be pure.
So let's talk a little bit about intention, because it's Intention Day. How do you tend to tell us a little bit about your process?
Okay.
I'm happy to share mine too, but
I'm human. I always, that's why I try not to judge whatever happens for me, because I'm really good at judging. I could have done it better. I know better. I should have, could have, would have, right? And so I can get
for yourself.
For myself.
We're very
for myself, not with my clients, right? So I can do that. But for me, sometimes I have to ask, is this for a good intention? So I have always been like with our work, and you understand this, we've had this conversation 1,000 times. When you help people to help people, like I do this for a living, but it never was about money for me. Never. The minute you make it about the money, it's not going to work. I don't care what job you're in. You have to find a passion inside of you. Right. So the intention matches your passion. Do I really want to do it this way? Or am I just doing it because I've always done it this way? Or is it time to get out of my little comfort zone and try something different? But yeah, does that make sense? So that was a perfect example of intention. Okay.
So I would say that if you make your intention based on passion and pursue it with passion, the money's going to come. It's just going to be there.
Yep. And that's a faith thing. You have to trust it. Do you see what I mean? You really have to have that deep faith. And I think, and we all have a deep faith, and it doesn't really matter what it is. but that core love is inside of you. Make you your best friend, make you your ally.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Keep going within and let your internal guide you. That's what's so important. And if you do it wrong, if you perceive you do it wrong, to me, it's never wrong. It's like, oh, that doesn't work. Do it a different way. Try it
It's the
some
difference
other way.
between going down a road straight and going down the alleys. The alleys sometimes are even more fascinating. They can be a little
Exactly.
painful too, but
And they all lead to the same place.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm. Yeah, good point. That's a good point.
So I think we're winding down.
Thank you
And
so much for having me.
thank you so much for coming, Renee. And I'm so excited to show my tea bag wisdom to you. I never have pulled a poet on a tea bag. You know, I've had a lot of Chinese proverbs, but
Right.
so this is bring me the sunset in a cup.
Oh, I love that.
Gives me such chills because that's what you are to me. And
Oh my God. And ditto.
Yep.
I feel the same about you.
It's Emily Dickinson. Can you see?
It's beautiful. Would you screenshot that for me?
Yes, I will.
Someday.
I will.
Someday. When in your spare time.
Well, thank you for taking your spare time to spend with us.
My pleasure.
You are adorable in every way, and I value you, and I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you so much. Ditto. Love you, sweetie.
I love you too.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Nice to meet you.
So
What's her name?
Kaylee.
Kaylee. Sorry, I'm so bad with names when I go into level. Nice to meet you, Kaylee.
It was nice to meet you too. It was great to listen.
And viewers, thank you for tuning in. Tune in next Thursday for my own story on my author Facebook page. I was born with a birthmark on my right knee, and it disappeared after I had my first child. And it was in the shape of a question mark. And my daddy always called me the why girl. So so I'm going to be talking about my whys next week. So if you want to know some answers to my whys or have your own why you want answered, join me on my author Facebook page. And it's everything from why did you become a journalist to why do you write about social justice. And our December Story Hour guest is Rob Sanborn, whose debut novel is called The Prisoner of Paradise. It takes place amidst the canals of Venice. I think you may remember Karen Neary, who also had her book based in Venice, but this is like completely night and day. And wait till you find out what the prison is. So it's worth coming just to find that out. Join me here every second Thursday of the month at Storytime, and every third Thursday live on my Facebook author page, and that's facebook.com/Kathy Ramsperger. You can find all my interviews archived on YouTube, and you can find more about Renee and her work at healinglightbyrenee.org, and Renee is RENEE. And you can find out more about me and my work at shoresofoursouls.com and groundonecoaching.com. That's ONE. I'm looking forward to seeing you all again soon. Feel free to post away if you're watching this after. And again, happy Veterans Day. And I'm wishing you a wonderful weekend with a great book to read. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.